Well, welcome everybody to the Vetted VA Sit Rep. We are starting a brand new series where every morning we're going to come about 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're coming to you with some topics, some information that we think is good and everybody's going to care about hearing about. And we're going to be picking these topics based on the engagement in our Facebook group. So my name is Nathan Nottingham with Vetted VA, and with me today is Glenn Groves of broker owner. He just kind of hated me when it came down to the testing. I mean, that's about right?
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. No. But I enjoyed our conversations and
Yes.
a little bit of the questioning on there. But hey, Glenn, thanks for being here. We want to talk a little bit about the topic of the day. But first, why don't you tell us more about yourself than that little brief intro I gave you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm located in Northern California. Again, I do apologize if my sound isn't that great. I'm in a brand new home office here, but I'm in Northern California. I'm in Sonoma County. My company is licensed here in California, Texas, and Colorado. I've been in the business. This will be my 11th year, but I grew up around the industry. I got my notary when I was 18. My mother, who's my business partner, has been in the industry now for 26 years. We love, I'm a veteran myself, Marine Corps vet, and that's been a great connection because I know I can speak the same language, right?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here. And so one of the things too that I'll just mention is most of our vetted professionals who go through the testing, they go through the accountability, they're holding themselves and their teams accountable. They're broken into squads, and those squads we have 8 squads, and every day our Facebook group is moderated by a squad. And you are one of the squad leaders for Foxtrot. Today is your day. You guys are on and watching this. And actually this weekend we just broke 29,000 members in this group, which is remarkable that our engagement is as high as it is, and there's so many active members on a regular basis. So I appreciate what you do on outside of running your business. Every 8 days you're on here engaging and answering questions above and beyond. So the topic that I want to cover today became a hot topic over the weekend, and it's about HOAs, the Homeowners Association. There was some negativity around it. I see a lot of negativity around it, which is understandable, and we're going to talk about that. But let's flip the script real quick and talk about the positivity. Why is an HOA possibly a good thing? Why do a lot of cities, when a developer is coming in to break ground on a multi-property unit or parcel of land, they're going to bring in houses? Why do the cities require HOAs to be in place? So let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on the HOA?
Yeah, and I think you're right. That off the bat, everybody's always, hey, Dave Ramsey told me, or I never want to have anything to do with an HOA. Very much like MI, right? People just don't want to have anything to do with it, mortgage insurance. So the good things about an HOA. Let's think. No, I'm just kidding. There's multiple things. So one of the largest things is that as an owner within that association, that your home value is going to be stable. Okay, and what I mean by that is a lot of the exterior aspects of the home, whether it's the roof or the siding or landscaping or general maintenance of kind of common areas, right? If there's a park, or how different places have island kind of strip to medians that have nice things in them, all that stuff gets maintained by the HOA, which definitely goes to curb appeal and overall value of the property. It's a real double-edged sword, right? Because it's going to come down to that specific HOA. Just like with anything else in real estate, the specific property, the specific realtor, the specific lender, all these different things. And that's why as lenders, when there is an HOA, most times we are required to get it certified or get it, run it through the ringer essentially of, do they have their budget in order? What do their minutes say in their last meetings? How many people are delinquent on their dues? Are their dues due to increase? Things like this. So They definitely have their place. It's not just a pool and tennis court type situation.
Right. So I brought this up in one of the conversations this weekend that when I bought our house, we were in a brand new development area and we were the first home in. and we knew there was going to be an HOA. I read the CCRs, the covenants and responsibilities. I read over the HOA. I was like, I don't know that I want to do this, right? I've heard horror stories. Everybody hears the horror stories. And I was thinking of, um, all those different TV shows that are broadcast, and they have the busybodies who are running around. They're part of HOA clubs and whatnot. And so I was worried. My wife was like, I don't think I like this idea either, but it's the only house we could find. It was with our budget. And so I said, okay, what if I can be the president or the chair of the HOA? That way I can kind of make sure that I won't be crazy. And she's like, I like that idea. So we dove in, and I wanted to learn more about it. And so I started diving into what it meant. And really what it did was, in our HOA, was that we have a green space. It's a wetland green space behind our property that has to be managed by somebody. And it belonged to the owner of the land parcel. And so the city said, the HOA has to make sure this is maintained because it's part of our green space initiative here in the city. It made sense. I'm in a little town called Washougal, Washington up here. The other side was that there is bark dust and there's some landscaping, and the HOA has to manage that. There's nothing else. Really, it kept it kind of quiet and kind of low. So our HOA fees are very low. But there are some HOA configurations in the CCR that say no permanent signs can be outside the property, right? I can't just install a new metal sign. I can put up political signs. I can put up holiday signs, but it has to last for no longer than 60 days. That's actually a really important thing. When I looked at my property value and where we're at, I didn't want somebody just to put up, business signs. You couldn't run a business out of your house until the HOA got together because of COVID, and we just passed a little oversight that basically said, look, we're going to allow businesses run out of your house as long as they're.
Nathan, I think you're muted.
I had some mic trouble. Can you still hear me?
Yep. That actually switched over to an actual mic, it sounds like. I can hear you now.
Oh, well. Hold on one second.
Okay, I was like, I can hear you.
Looks like I was on a roll and I lost my microphone. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Awesome. Now I can't hear anything myself. All right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. So, talking about the HOA and what happens. Man, I'm just having terrible issues now. Hold on one second. I'm going to be right back.
Boom, boom. How's that? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. So the HOA actually allows us to control what's happening there and what was happening as far as the resale value, and that basically our neighbors can't go out and just paint their house a crazy color. That would actually be maybe an eyesore to some people. So there's rules about colors. And I grew up around in a neighborhood where a house decided to paint their house Pepto-Bismol pink. And I'll tell you, that was really hard on this.
I was gonna say pink is always the one that we're like, so I can't do pink, or
you can't do pink. Pink's a no-go. So those are the good things about HOAs. And I will say, when it comes down to, we had a tree that was about to fall on some people in the back, and the HOA covered the cost. Our HOA dues like $220 a year, so it's real low because we're just landscape maintenance. That's the good. Yeah. Where do HOAs run into trouble when it comes to buying and selling property?
Well, the problems that we've seen is usually a poorly managed HOA. It starts from the top of that leadership, and whether it's from the biggest issues we've seen is deferred maintenance, right? If you have a complex, whether this is an attached condominium, an attached planned unit development, or even detached, you can really run afoul when there's, I saw one, for instance, where the dues were maybe $250 a month, which wasn't unheard of for the type of property. But when you read the meeting minutes, it was due to go up to $375 within 6 months, because they had like a $500,000 or $1 million stucco project. They needed to do all the units they were all cracking and stuff like that. And we found it. And the realtor we were working with found it for our buyer. And subsequently they were like, well, good thing we saw that landmine coming type thing. But that all went into proper budgeting and the other aspects of the management, which you can speak really well to as being part of one. But
yeah.
The other big issues are what exactly does the HOA cover? Because it's almost like it's a box of chocolates, right? You may get one HOA that says, yeah, we're going to mow the little patch of grass in front of your house, and it's
right.
a month. And you're like, okay. And another one says, look, we're going to cover all utilities, garbage as well. We're going all the siding, the roof, and there's a pool for the community. We maintain the sidewalks, like everything. And you're like, well, this is why it's $600 a month, very turnkey, which may become more of a draw for the millennial or Gen Z type buyers who are like, look, I want to own a home. I do not want the maintenance.
Right.
And we can both speak to that where you're like, look, you own a house. Guess what? Most of your weekends are chewed up with when you got some projects going on, right? And so if you're just like, look, I want to be a homeowner, but I don't want that, then frankly, you might have to pay a little bit of a premium with an HOA, but it's very turnkey in some situations. So you have to do your due diligence and looking into it. And again, I just lean back on, this is where a realtor is worth their weight in gold. Not only the negotiation prowess and the legal cover, but them really digging in and helping vet an HOA or having past experience with one. Priceless. You just don't know what you're getting involved in until you really do the research.
Absolutely. I'm going to say everything you said was spot on, although I lost it halfway through, so I've had to adjust my audio setting real fast. I'm having digital difficulties right now. But the HOA, there was one thing that came up this weekend, and I kind of want to debunk it. Well, I don't want to debunk it because that makes it sound like what I heard was incorrect. But one of our members was talking about how an HOA had oversight, and I haven't heard of this before, so I'm going to ask you, Glenn, because it might be the case, had the ability to turn down an offer on a property because it was going to be on VA lending, not conventional. I've never seen that before, so I'm not sure the structure, but have you ever heard of that?
So what immediately comes to mind is this is a true condominium project that is not approved by HUD or the VA. That would be my immediate, hey, well, it's not necessarily the HOA's decision. It's that complex is not approved. So there would not be lending, VA lending available. And what we mean by that is if certain types of properties, attached condominiums, right, where you almost look at it and goes, at an apartment? No, it's a condominium, right? And or if it's zoned that way and designated, which here in Northern California is actually more rare than you would think. You'd say, hey, that's
very rare in Oregon as well. It's hard to find condos.
It's a planned unit development,
Yep.
And again, attached, like a shared common wall. That complex has to be approved through HUD based on some of those factors we were talking about before. Look, do they have proper budgeting? Do they have, the $1 million of liability insurance, like basic type stuff? But it's a process to go through and get approved. Doesn't take all that long, but not in the heat of the moment. Hey, we'd like to make an offer.
Yep.
We're not approved. Let's get you approved. And it doesn't work necessarily like that.
Right.
So my first thought is, absolutely, it may not be the governing authority that you think it is with the HOA declining an offer or turning it down. It's just that they may say, look, we can't accept it. Right?
Because they're not an approved condominium. That would make sense. I wouldn't see, as an HOA leader myself, like I've had a few of our neighbors have sold their houses and moved, and there's paperwork I fill out. And it's basically like you said at the outset, what were the dues? Are they set to increase? When was your last meeting? What are the minutes of your last meeting?
How many people?
What do you pay for? It's a basic membership packet where here's your finances. So we do that. That makes a lot of sense. And I think the HOA as a whole is meant to be good. What the city is trying to do, if you like, I look across the street where it's an older neighborhood with no HOA, and I've got massive cars parked everywhere. Some houses in disarray, some houses look really beautiful. And it's like, and we had to deal with one, somebody parked a car outside of ours, and the HOA says no park cars longer than X amount of nights in one spot that are in disrepair. And that's really just to help the value and the maintenance of all things. So
everybody would argue, hey, you can't have a car parked 72, 96 hours, whatever, in the same spot. Like, yeah, what do? Call the police department. They've got bigger fish to fry. Right. To come out and chalk your tire and then come and check it later type thing.
Yeah.
So it's very much something of the HOA is that lower level kind of, hey, let's just stay accountable here. Please don't park cars on the lawn and have, an engine.
It's neighborhood accountability.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's
with accepted guidelines and rules, right? When you buy the property and you sign that I'm buying this property and it's like, here's your HOA, here's your CCRs, you're accepting those. Kind of like when you go into vetted VA into our group and we have group rules and you join, you're accepting the rules when you join and you'll be held accountable to them. So those are simple play-by-play rules. That's really good. Hey, we got one question. It's not about HOAs. While we kind of are looking to wrap this up, I want to ask this question. Somebody asked, do you think it's better to impound your own property taxes and insurance?
This is a great one.
So like curveball, Glenn, I'm going to throw a different one at you.
I love this one. Okay. So again, and I don't mean to stereotype I'm a millennial. Millennials and Gen Z.
I'm right on the cusp myself. I'm not sure which one I am.
A lot of people, doesn't matter what generation they're really in, just want to make one payment and be done with it. Mm-hmm. Meaning you make that $2,500, $2,000, $3,000 payment, whatever it is. It includes taxes, insurance, the actual loan itself. And then if it's conventional and you have MI, including it. Now, HOA is not included in impounds, tying those two questions together. But I'm very much the school of thought of, if I have the option to not impound, I'm not going to do it. Okay. And the reasoning is that this time of year in California, the tax bill is due in a month, right? One of the installments says 6 months of taxes, things like that. That's my money. These are prepaid items, right? You're not paying interest on these items. You're not, there's no extra cost, but I'm very much the school of thought of, this is my money and I'll hold on to it. And when the bill comes due, I'm responsible enough to pay it because I'm tying up that money in an impound account, right? And on some of these more expensive homes, between taxes and insurance, we would be talking well over $10,000 in impound. Yeah. Okay, right. So I look at it and go, look, I know that money's going to come due. I know when it comes due in April and in December. But why am I going to give it to a lender, which frankly is one of the weakest links of the entire mortgage process, is the servicing of an impound account, which is a whole nother topic to go over. But I'm very much, I'll hold on to the money. It's my money. And when the bill comes due, I can pay it. Now, that means I need to be budgeting properly, right? Saving 4, 5, 6, 800, whatever it is, a month into a separate savings account. But my monthly mortgage payment is much lower because it's only the principal and interest, right? So a lot of people, I explain to them and they go, yeah, I think we still just want to make one payment. I go, great. So we're going to need an extra $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 up front to front load that account then. Oh, well, they're just changed the dynamic. And I look at it and go, look, it's the same amount of money one way or another.
Right.
Do you want to pay it now or do you just want to kick the can down the road? Because you're going to pay it one way or another. And with VA, it's not a VA requirement to impound your taxes and insurance. Most lenders require it. One of the biggest ones that a lot of us use in here, United Wholesale Mortgage, does not require you to impound. I had my VA loan with them before. You do not have to impound your taxes and insurance. Most all of the lenders say, look, yes, we want you to impound them. Biggest reason, what's the number one lien on title?
Right.
Taxes.
And I was gonna say that, right? We're looking at risk variance. So you're trying to tell the lender, I'm not a risky guy or gal. I'm not a risky borrower. Let's put it that way. And when I do that, now a tax lien can, by legal standing, take first position above and beyond a lender. Yeah. And that's the risk, right? That's why a lender's like, I don't want anybody to take the first lien position on that property. Therefore, to offset that, I'm going to make you impound your taxes unless you have so much loan to value, so much like equity in our loan process.
Yeah, and to be clear, that tax lien can lead to a sheriff coming knocking on your door 90 days later and foreclosure. So that's what the lenders look at, right? Let's be totally transparent and honest with this. Yeah, you as the borrower, you're super important. They're looking out for number one, okay? And that means that they don't want that piece of collateral to be seized by the county, essentially. So oftentimes, even if somebody doesn't impound, and the tax bill goes into default, they will pay it. And then they'll come after you as the borrower because they go, look, you had this $3,000 bill. It was going to cause huge issues. We paid it. Now you owe us like $3,500. And you're kind of looking to go, hey, I was told I just had to make one monthly payment or what, so just be very careful whether you're impounding or not, that you understand the flow and the mechanics of how that works, It's not just hey, my payment's lower because I'm not impounding. Great, you go. That money still has to get paid.
Yes, and you still, and there's one thing I saw. Somebody said, "Well, I don't get the tax benefit if I'm impounding my payments into the lender." Well, actually, you still do. You still get that tax bill in your name. Yeah. The lender just sends the check on your behalf. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I would only pass impounds at this point if I was getting such a high interest rate on that savings where that few $1,000s a year would actually garner me more money. Right. But when you're looking at total savings percentage rates right now, I don't understand why I'd even want to.
Yeah, my biggest reason for not wanting to do it is the logistics and administration with a lot of these servicing companies. These are not the lenders necessarily that we're brokering loans to. It's who they're selling the servicing rights to, right? Because they don't catch up that a tax bill got reassessed or something changed. They issue a refund check, then you're short. It just creates a real headache for what was supposed to be an easy, let me make one monthly payment type situation. It's really a pain. But yeah. Oh, the only other thing about impounds too, and this isn't all that common anymore, but different lenders will incur a loan level price adjustment if you opt to not impound, meaning your interest rate may not change, but just get a little bit more expensive, like an eighth or something like that, which, I mean, on my average size loan amount, that may be a $400, $500 one-time charge to opt not to impound taxes and insurance. For a lot of people, they may say that puts them over the edge. They're like, let them keep the money.
The benefit there is not far outweighed by the risk. So keeping it the problem there. And just so you know, impounded taxes and insurance is actually covered by RESPA. So RESPA section, I want to say section 5, but I may be off that one. That's the Real Estate Settlement Protection Act. So there's actually governance over what they can do with the money and how much they can actually keep. It's no more than 2 months of you're in escrow, and they're always doing an audit. So
that does cause part of the problem, though.
It causes part of the problem.
Well, I would just say, because let's just chase this rabbit down the hole real quick. Is in California, your taxes are assessed based on the purchase price. That's Prop 13 that was passed in the 70s, right? Well, if you're buying a house from somebody that bought in the 90s or something, their tax base is much lower than yours.
Oh. Okay.
So when you buy the home, you sign something that's called a preliminary change of ownership, which essentially is notifying the county that, hey, there's been a change in ownership. This needs to be reassessed. But it doesn't take place until July of every year. They don't catch them until every July.
Oh. Okay.
So you go buy a place in August or something, and we establish the impound account correctly based on your new purchase price of $700,000. I know people are chuckling about that, but $700,000, and the tax base was set when that person bought the home for $250,000.
Right.
You're going to get to the end of the year, the servicer is going to go, whoa, we have like $5,000 too much in this account based on the tax bill we can see. Issue them a refund. Issue that, but we cannot legally hold this much money in the account.
Right.
Borrower receives a refund, doesn't tell anybody. If you get a check in the mail, tell somebody. Okay. They don't tell anybody. They go spend it on Christmas, paying off credit cards, something like that. Come back around to April when the next tax bill, or July when they reassess, and they say, hey, so new bill's out. We're short like $5,000 or $7,000. We need to increase your payment.
Right. To make up the money
a month, and they're kind of like, what happened? You're like, what'd you do with the money? That's what the money was for. The money was there. It got messed up in the logistics. So believe me, every year. Hey, I got this
Every
in the
year.
mail. Do not look. Just cash it and hold on to it. It's like,
Yeah, you gotta hold it in a secure account. Don't touch it. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
just a nightmare. That's
You know what?
that's
Didn't know that about California. Up here in Washington, it's a little different, but I appreciate that. So yes, word to the wise: if you ever get a reimbursement check from your lender, always call your loan officer and say, "What just happened? I got cash. This is weird. They shouldn't be paying me to live in my house."
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, we started with the HOA. I think the big takeaway there is there's good to an HOA. There's potential drawback to an HOA. And I will say my own personal goal is in my next property not to be in a land area with an HOA. I want to kind of have that freedom. I like that, to have that freedom. You know, I want to put an actual fountain in my yard because I like water features. I can't do it with my current HOA.
It's a status symbol. Yeah.
It's a status symbol. That's right. I like to see the raccoons and the blue heron come in and try to eat my goldfish. But those, so there are drawbacks and takeaways. I appreciate you, Glenn. Thanks for being on our first episode of the Vetted VA Sit Rep, and looking forward to many more of these. I think tomorrow we're going to be talking about buyer preparedness.
Ooh.
And again, we'll be Golf Squad is on watch.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. We will see y'all later. Make sure to tag the replay and watch below. And any questions, Glenn and I'll tag Glenn on this post so we can come back in and answer questions throughout the day. So take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.